With some really popular smartphones such as the Samsung Galaxy Note 4, LG G3, and the newer Samsung Galaxy S6 being released in Quad HD resolutions, more and more people are wondering just what does Quad HD stand for exactly. Now obviously it is not that hard to figure out what Quad HD is, but people are getting confused because you have Quad HD, you've got 4K, you've got Full HD, and you even have something called QHD, as well as another QHD where the Q is a lowercase letter. So when you use the uppercase QHD and the lowercase QHD, they actually mean two different resolutions. So let's dissect resolution by resolution and put all this in perspective so you guys have complete knowledge of what it means when we talk about Quad HDs, 4Ks, Full HDs, and the regular HD resolution. Let's dive in. Let's start off with HD. So HD means high definition, and it stands for 720p, and the corresponding resolution is 1280 by 720 pixels. This resolution is hardly used on the newer cell phones anymore. You either get 1080p or Quad HD in today's smartphones. Next up, you get Full HD, which is 1080p resolution, which we find on most of our newer high-definition TVs and on most of our current generation cell phones. So the resolution is 1920 by 1080 pixels. And then we have got Quad HD, which stands for 1440p. Now this is mostly for the latest and greatest smartphones, such as the Samsung Galaxy Note 4 or the Samsung Galaxy S6. The corresponding resolution is 2560 by 1440 pixels. And finally we have 4K, which is not Quad HD as some people think. 4K is 2160p. This is found on ultra high definition TVs, and it has nothing to do with the smartphones except when we say that a smartphone can record in 4K. When we say that, that means the smartphone can in fact record in 2160p, which is 4K, and the corresponding resolution is 3840 by 2160 pixels. Now another interesting thing is, let's look at the relation between the HD and Quad HD. Now as you know, HD is 720p. We just talked about that. And Quad means 4. So when you take Quad and you put it in front of HD, that means 4 times HD. And you can do the math. So let's take HD really quick and see how many pixels that translates to. So 1280 by 720, multiply those two numbers, and you get 921,600 pixels. Quad HD is 2560 by 1440. So if you multiply those two numbers, 2560 by 1440, the answer is 3,686,400 pixels. Now if you divide the number of pixels you get from Quad HD by the number of pixels you get from HD, the number is going to be 4. So now you see, when you take Quad and you slap it in front of HD, that means you get 4 times that 720p. Now I did mention in the beginning of this video that you have Quad HD and you have QHD, and then you have a lowercase QHD. Let's take a look at the differences. So the uppercase QHD is simply the shorter version of Quad HD, but the lowercase QHD is actually a very old resolution, and it translates to 960 by 540, also known as 540p. Interestingly enough, the iPhone 4 and the 4S had a resolution of 960 by 640, which is almost QHD but not quite. And finally, another interesting relation between 4K and full high definition. So 4K is supposed to be 4 times that of full high definition as far as pixelation goes, pixel amounts go. So let's do the math really quick. 1080p is 1920 by 1080. So let's multiply those numbers, and what we do get is we get 2,073,600 pixels. Now if you take 4K, that is 3840 by 2160, and if you multiply those numbers, you get 8,294,400 pixels. Divide the two and you get the number 4. So it all makes sense. So here's a quick summary of everything we talked about. So you got the HD resolution, which is 720p, found on some old phones and HD TVs. Then you get the full HD, which is quite common. It's called 1080p. and you can find this on most new phones and high definition TVs. And then you got the Quad HD, which is 1440p, mostly found on the latest and greatest smartphones. And finally, you've got the 4K, which is 2160p, which we can find on the most recent ultra high definition TVs, as well as when we say that a phone is able to record at 4K, this is the resolution we are talking about. But do not confuse 4K with Quad HD. Remember, Quad HD is 4 times that of regular HD, and 4K is 4 times that of full HD. And I do want to say that I did omit to mention some of the resolutions out there, but these are the ones that I think are most relevant for this video's content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, throw them down in the comments section below.